This is Prep Period, an all-sports podcast by the Ventura County Star and the people at VCS Preps.
Hello and welcome to episode 23 of Prep Period, the Ventura County Stars All Sports, All Preps podcast. My name is Dominic Massimino. He is Joe Curley. We are your hosts of the show and sports reporters here at the Ventura County Star. Got another exciting episode for you today. Winter sports playoffs are here. We have reached the final stages of league play. We just have a couple of scattered play-in games that we're going to talk about to finish things up. But yeah, we're going to be talking today about how those league races panned out, what teams are have made the playoffs in soccer and basketball, what teams are making playoff runs in sports like wrestling. But before we get to all that, Joe, how you doing? What you been up to?
Doing good. It was a very busy Tuesday. So busy, in fact, that we did not record. We decided to hold off.
How did I not mention?
One day.
This is why you're seeing us a day later.
So much happened on Tuesday that it was like, there's no point doing a show Tuesday when everything's going to be, totally different come Wednesday. So why don't we just wait till Wednesday? So this is the very first episode of Prep Period being live broadcast and recorded on a Wednesday.
A Wednesday. Hump
And
day.
it's a very newsy day for teams we cover, for teams we know, for teams we follow. So we'll leave that where it is.
Before we
Anthony Davis.
Before we jump into to talking about basketball playoff or league races and playoff races, I forgot to mention last episode. We've reached 100 subscribers. We reached the triple digits on YouTube for this show, which is
Nice.
we're slowly growing. It's a small victory here, but we
have a growth mindset.
We have a growth mindset, and those of you who are listening to this, I'm sure you are part of those 102 subscribers now. If you're not, go subscribe. So just thank you to all you guys for coming and hanging out with us. Appreciate it.
All right, slowly but surely we're building this thing.
Indeed. So first, we're going to talk about boys basketball again. Things have come to a very exciting conclusion. Joe Curley stepped on the basketball beat this past week to help me out a little bit, caught some action, so he
do what I can.
Help me out
do
here
what I can.
Talking about that Coastal Canyon League race. But we'll start with the Marmani League, where there's been like a little bit of drama, I feel like, just headed to the finish line. We had thought maybe there was going to be a three-way tie for second, which there ended up being. We thought there was maybe going to be a coin flip or a play-in game. We found out from league athletic directors and from the coaches from Oaks Christian, Westlake, Calabasas, and Thousand Oaks that they're going to be using head-to-head matchups to decide who is going to get that second, third, and fourth spot in the Marmani League. We'll get to that in a second. Oaks Christian clinches the outright Marmani League title for the second year in a row. Last night, I covered that game in person. Gets the 49-40 victory over Westlake. Crosstown Rivals was an exciting game. Very gritty, grimy game early on. It was 22-17. Oaks Christian led at halftime.
In the 40s.
Yeah, in the 40s. So that was an interesting game to decide. First off, to decide whether Westlake could get a piece of that league title or if Oaks was going to get it outright. And second of all, that Westlake loss dropped them down to be in that three-way tie with Calabasas and Thousand Oaks in league, leading to this strange phenomenon where we're just kind of looking at the head-to-head matchups to decide automatic playoff bids and so forth. So that leaves Calabasas second place in league. They get a win last night big over Agora. And Thousand Oaks wins against Newbury Park big, but that is not enough to get them into that third spot in an automatic bid. So TO, our highest ranked team in the computer rankings at number 30, is going to be seeking an at-large playoff bid. We're expecting they're going to get it, but yeah, there's some people in Thousand Oaks crossing their fingers this week looking towards Saturday.
What do I say? You never want to be in the position where you need an at-large bid in this, this period in CIF history, because it's almost always not about what you did in the regular season. It's all about kind of the luck of the draw. It obviously helps to be higher up in the divisions. The fact that they're our number one computer ranked team helps them. And, I see how they get in, but again, you're uneasy until you get that notification on seedings day for sure.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago, Oaks Christian, this was the 2022-23 season, Oaks Christian lost a play-in game to Calabasas for that last playoff spot. And that year, they didn't have any at-large bids in the division that Oaks Christian was in. So there is a precedent for this. So not to...
Yeah, I don't love the way that CIF does at-large bids. There was a year I was a little miffed, probably about 10 years now, where a Royal soccer team had more than 20 wins and did not get in because in that division there was not room. And, it's my personal philosophy that, playoff teams, if you're good enough, you should be in. It shouldn't be, I don't want to waste all our time, about the system and how they change part of it and not all of it. They didn't finish the job when they changed the system 5-10 years ago. The where you finish in league should not determine whether or not you make the playoffs, because now you've got teams from all kinds of different divisions competing for a league champion. So when if you're a Division 5 team and you're in a division with a bunch of Division 1 teams, where you finish in league should not determine whether or not you make the Division 5 feed or not. So 5 field or not, but you get the drift. Anyway,
good take. We are going to
pull the string, and I'm just going to go.
We're going to skip the Coastal Canyon League because not to give away our guest. Tip my hand. Thank you very much. We will have somebody else to come in and talk with us about that, in addition to getting Joe's take, having covered that Oak Park Moore Park game earlier last week. Moving to the Channel League, Oxnard finishes third. They're in the playoffs. We had another exciting race for who was going to get that third spot, or fourth spot, that is, in the Channel League between Rio Mesa and Oxnard. Rio gets in, having a head-to-head 2-0 league season against Ventura. No play-in game there. And, the kind of story that, was going on late was Pacifica was making this great push. They were way down in the Channel League standings. They get a couple of big wins, including one over Dos Pueblos, to move within one game of forcing a possible three-way tie in the Channel League as well with Ventura and Rio Mesa. They can't get that last win that they needed over very good San Marcos team. They lose by around 20. And so their season's done, but a very solid season for a very young team in Pacifica who's, going to return most of those guys. The sad thing here for Ventura is, despite, having that tied league record, they are on the outside looking in, and they're not going to be able to qualify for an at-large berth because they finished below 500 in the regular season. So end of the road for Ventura, end of the road for Pacifica. Oxnard and Rio Mesa are moving on out of the Channel League. And then moving to the Tri-Valley League, we got two teams in Foothill Tech and St. Bonaventure, both headed to the playoffs. St. Bonaventure they played, I think it was Sylmar, so scheduled a tough non-league opponent after league was over to get a little test before those playoffs. We could see Foothill Tech and St. Bonaventure in the same playoff bracket. They're pretty close in those computer rankings as far as we can tell. The Citrus Coast League, we have Santa Paula, Fillmore, and Channel Islands all playoff bound. Santa Paula clinches that undefeated league campaign, goes 12-0. Fillmore and Channel Islands both headed to the playoffs as well. We have a story coming out hopefully in the next day or so by the time this airs.
I read it.
Joe's already got his eyes on it, helped me out with it a little bit. That's going to have information from Santa Paula about these computer rankings, information from Oaks Christian, from Thousand Oaks, from a lot of these teams that may be impacted by, from Oxnard, I should add, that may be impacted by these computer rankings to the second year they've used them. So keep an eye out for that. And then in the Frontier League, we see Santa Clara clinches the outright league title for the first time since the 2000-2001 season, taking down Grace in an awesome game in Oxnard. They are going to be bound for the playoffs. Grace is also bound for the playoffs out of that league. And then let's jump to the Coastal Canyon League race. Some exciting stuff happened there as well. Joe got to catch Oak Park versus Moore Park. Oak Park having a chance to clinch the outright league title with a win. Moore Park had a chance to get a piece of it in that game. Just tell us a little bit about that one, Joe.
I mean, certainly it's a different Oak Park team than the Oak Park team that, you may have seen earlier this year, when Jaden Holmes is on the court with Bo Profit, you've got a situation where you've got two bigs playing, two athletic, skilled bigs playing together. And that kind of changed. I thought that was the difference in the game, the way Moore Park started really strong. They put a really good effort together. They took a relatively decent lead to start, and Oak Park just kind of chipped away and they defended and they essentially shot at a higher clip the rest of the game because their defense was making such a big impact. Moore Park has those guards and was able to stay in the game, but just, Oak Park's defense, I think, was just a little bit too much.
Did you feel
Jaden
like
Holmes?
Sorry, I remember we were talking going into that game about kind of like the front court for players for Oak Park, and it's that backcourt talent for Moore Park. Like, did it end up playing out that way? Like those being kind of the keys to the game?
It's exactly what it was, and both coaches said something similar. I think it was Coach Lewis of Moore Park who literally said the same thing you had told me going into the game after the game, where it's like, our strength is our backcourt and their strength is our front court. And but really, they also, Oak Park was able to defend their backcourt, kind of hung in there and just made it tough. I think Jonah Hoyo was on Logan Stotts, and I thought did a really nice job just making him work. And the Moore Park had some issues with just some calls that went against them and keeping poise, and Oak Park just kind of had been there before and had done it, and so they just kind of chipped away. They were down early, they caught up by the second quarter, and they had a little bit of a lead in the third quarter, and then just kind of, it was really the trend line was just the same the rest, the last 30 minutes of the game. So really impressed with Oak Park. If Jaden Holmes is able to stay healthy and get close to the player he was when he was healthy, I think they've got a shot to make some waves in the playoffs. And then I just think Moore Park, it's the beginning. That's not a game that, you really expect them to win the year after they were 0-8 in league. So I think they're starting this journey to being a really good basketball team. And I have to say that gym is one of the best gyms in the county. It's big. It was loud. The fans really, kind of, it was a championship style atmosphere. And, I thought Moore Park did a lot of things well, but, Oak Park just, showed why they've been Oak Park for the last 20 years.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I talked to Jaden Holmes a couple of days ago about, he made his comeback just one game before that Moore Park game and was on a severe minutes restriction coming back from his, knee surgery. And he said he was struck by how much, the team has kind of changed just since the summer when he had that surgery. And, they've kind of, a sort of young group has kind of gone through the fire without their number one. And in that time, you have guys like Bo Profit, like Grant Shaw, like Jonathan Plax. Their kind of guys have stepped up in his stead and have gotten, through the gauntlet that the Coastal Canyon League has been this year. And now they get him back, which is awesome. So it's one of those things that we talk about, like not showing up in the computer rankings is injuries or people coming back from injuries.
Sure.
And another thing is how teams change over the course of the season. It's not reflected. So, we'll see where Oak Park, is put, but you got to think they have a little bit of an edge getting a player like that back.
Yeah, they're definitely a better team than they were throughout most of their season, for sure.
Nice. And I guess you want to we can move on to girls basketball while we're waiting for our guest to hop on here.
Sure.
So girls basketball, it's like we kind of talked about in, I think it was maybe last week's episode. It was a recent episode. things are a little bit more cut and dry on the girls' side of things because we have this kind of unprecedented league parity with a top dog at the top of our top 5 leagues. So Thousand Oaks last night clinches the league championship. They dropped one last. Ooh, there we go. Perfect timing. I should have just shut my mouth for a couple of minutes and just been quiet.
We're good.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Mike, check. Hello. Good. Brendan Garrett here.
Hey, Coach. Good to hear from you. Let me pin Joe real quick because you're calling in. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Great.
How you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. Good to.
And a lot of great basketball.
A lot of great basketball, Coach. You stole the words right out of my mouth. Let's give you a little introduction. Coach Brendan Garrett, head coach of the boys basketball program over at Camarillo. Coach, you guys had a pivotal game last night, a pivotal win over Oak Park. You guys avoid a possible play-in game. You've clinched a playoff berth. Just tell me how it feels to get that win and kind of put the uncertainty to bed.
Man, we're on cloud 9 over here, man, on a lot of levels for a lot of reasons. Before I get into that, first and foremost, much respect to Oak Park. Heck of a program. We have a ton of respect for their program. We think they're well coached. They're always tough. They're always physical. And this year they were the league champion. So, it almost seemed, impossible that we were going to avoid that playing game. But, the good news is that we got to control our own destiny on our home court. Really proud of our guys. Been a lot of adversity this year with injuries, illnesses. It's just been one thing after another. And so, toughness is a big thing at our school and within our program. We talked to a lot of guys about, and one of the biggest ways we define it for them is overcoming adversity. And so that's the biggest thing we're proud of. We've had a little more than usual here this season, even prior to the season starting. So just really proud of our guys to get back to where we feel like we belong, is in the playoffs and the postseason, man.
And just tell us how you guys pulled it off. What was the key to taking down an Oak Park team that had not lost in league up until that point?
I thought we defended them really, really well. To hold that team to 45 points is exceptional. They've got, some pretty talented kids, especially in the Prophet, I'm sure you're aware of.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have a really good chance to be MVP of the league. We'll see how all that voting shakes out. But, man, he's 6'5", and he's skilled, and he's a load. And he really took it to us last night. But I thought we were able to contain him for the most part. I know he had 20 last night, and that's kind of unusual to say, but we did it in spurts and in segments, and it was truly a team effort on the defensive end. I thought we rebounded the ball really well. Oak Park is big. They're almost bigger than us at every position, even off the bench. So we had to do a great job there. And then we had to find ways to score because they're always tough defensively and very physical. And we had some guys like Maximo Luna, Aaron Piantino, and Jaden Whitehead. They've been our big 3 all year. Those guys had some timely shots and they had to find tough ways to score. At this point in the season, man, especially with Oak Park, they do a great job of scouting and preparing. And everyone knows each other's plays. There's even moments in the game where a guy from the other team they're running a certain play and we're calling it out, and he might not do the right thing, and our guys are telling him, "Hey, buddy, you're supposed to be over here," telling them where to go. But so you gotta score within your offense, and you gotta find ways to score and make plays. And our guys were able to do that on the offensive side, just enough to be able to beat them. Obviously, we jumped on them early. And we're able to kind of hold them off down the stretch too. So especially as Prophet got going in the second half, he kind of came alive. And so, which is what we hope he wouldn't do. We know he probably would. We were hoping he wouldn't. And again, like I said, we were able to contain him and just make enough plays on offense down the stretch.
Amazing. Joe, you got any questions for Coach? I know we got a busy schedule moving forward.
Well, I can just confirm when Coach Garrett talks about toughness in his program, he doesn't just speak it; he lives by it. I had a kid who went to his. I know a kid who went to his youth basketball camp a couple years ago, and the kid quoted me some acronym, which stands for "Every loose ball is ours." And 2 years later, the
El
kid's still
Bio.
quoting it back to me. El Bio.
That's great.
So I got that
El
2
Bio,
days
the
ago,
old Latin
Coach.
phrase.
That's right.
Nice.
So
Nice.
anyway,
I got that from my old high school coach, Tom McCollum. We used to tell us about the El Bio, the Latin phrase for the life. So you go after every loose ball, like life depends on it.
El Bio.
Figuratively speaking. Yeah.
yeah, you get a
So,
long
shout out
way
to
in high
Tom
school
McCollum.
basketball fighting like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd like to just give a shout out to our JV team won the league outright, and our Staffrosh team, they were co-champions with Oak Park. And so our JV team had to beat Oak Park's JV team. Shows you how good their program is, like I mentioned earlier. But just proud of those guys. We're a program that tries to do it the traditional way and build through our lower levels. So really proud of those guys. So Cloud9, all three programs get a win over a tough Oak Park program, who we think is going to do well. They're a varsity team in the playoffs. And so, anyways, just, Cloud9, as I mentioned at the beginning.
Awesome, Coach. Coach Garrett from Camarillo, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you, Coach, as always, and best of luck. We'll be looking forward to seeing where you guys are seated in these playoffs.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me, and also thank you guys for all the great work you do. My wife listens to your guys' podcast occasionally.
No way.
And she just says you guys do a great job. Yeah.
That's awesome. Tell her
She's
thank
always,
you from us.
I married a basketball. Yeah, no problem. I married a basketball gal. She's always trying to get the inside scoop to help us out anyway. So I appreciate her.
Awesome.
But she says you guys do a great job and enjoys listening to you guys. I'll let her know, though.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. You have a good rest of your day.
You too. Bye, guys.
Alrighty, and just like clockwork, we have another coach joining us. Joe, you want to give the introduction of this guy right here?
All right, Coach, I muted you, so I think you have to unmute yourself. Remember, I think this is the issue that every time I do
yeah,
this.
we did have this problem last
So
time.
see if you could figure out how to unmute yourself. Hopefully I didn't. Let's see here. But yeah, let's bring on. We've got kind of a big moment tomorrow. Pacifica Girls Wrestling becomes the second wrestling team, girls wrestling team in county history to play for a CIF final. So we thought we'd speak to Coach Joe Rodriguez. Hopefully I didn't. But Pacifica beat in Division III over the weekend at Lakewood High. They beat Yucca Valley, Canyon Springs, and South Hills to reach the final. They're going to travel all the way out to Elsinore on tomorrow night, on Thursday. And it'll be the second straight team, a Pacifica wrestling team, will play for CIF final, because Pacifica, in a match I covered, beat Simi Valley for a CIF title last year around this time. And we'll have to mention Ventura High won the first county CIF title in girls wrestling history back in 2023. He's still efforting to unmute himself.
Here, maybe
Do you remember what?
Maybe I don't remember what we did. Maybe if he backs out and just rejoins, because you're unmuted when you join. I think we just muted him right when he came in.
Coach Rodriguez, do you want to hang up and then just call back?
There we go.
There he goes.
Coach is on
Always
it.
for communicating. It's funny. When I went and I muted him, I thought to myself, is this the thing where they have to unmute themselves?
The thing that we did last
maybe
time.
one of these days we'll call in and.
I think it's tougher when you call in versus being in the app, because I don't think you have any interface on the phone. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It doesn't give you.
I mean,
like
it's got to be like pound something, or
Yeah.
Gonna be a. Remind me when we get to fourth period as we wait for Coach Rodriguez. Here we go. I'm gonna have a rant for you.
Coach Rodriguez, sorry we stole your microphone, sir.
It's okay. It's okay. You know what's funny is when it said I was muted, it gave me an option of how to unmute myself, but I wasn't really paying attention to that. So
yeah.
I wish I would have listened.
No, it's all good.
100% my fault. We figured it out.
We're 23 episodes into this podcast, this weekly podcast, Coach, and we still Joe and I still somehow manage to manufacture some technical difficulties every single time. So there's no problem.
I mean, there's got to be one snafu a week, or it's not a real podcast.
Indeed.
Right.
But Coach Rod, tell me about this Tritons team and how you guys, the story of last weekend, how you guys were able to make it through, and what it's going to mean for you to get on that bus tomorrow, make that long drive, and see if you could bring home some hardware.
Right. Yeah, that'd be awesome. The team. I only got a few upperclassmen. I'm not fully loaded up with upperclassmen. I got a lot of lower sophomores and freshmen on the team, and they've really, really, really stepped up and done a great job throughout the year, just improving on a daily basis. So the team, I always tell them, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and it's a true testament of what we're doing this weekend, or what we did this last weekend, and what we plan on doing on Thursday. It's really showing now the hard work that they're all putting in. It's just awesome to see the growth on all these girls. It's awesome.
I mean, girls wrestling is still relatively in its infancy. I think it's only 5 or 6 years that it's been a CIF sport, maybe 7 years. How have you seen just in these last couple of years, the growth of this sport locally?
Oh, I mean, locally especially. I mean, remember when I was first starting to coach the girls, you'd have only us and maybe a Ventura team that had kind of a full lineups, and you wouldn't have too many others. And now you look around the league, and for the most part, you got out of a 14 weight class team, you got at least 10 to 12 girls just about at every school now, with the exception of a couple. But for the most part, the growth is huge. The competition has gotten a lot better than what it used to be, and it's again, like you said, it's a growing sport, and it's fun to see where we're headed.
I mean, there's been some real success now with Pacifica Wrestling, both on the boys and the girls side, these last 2 years. What, just how does the boys team kind of affect you guys? Are you guys one group together? Is there, competition between the two teams, or do they work together? What's the relationship between that boys program and your program?
Well, we have a good working relationship. Me and Coach Bautista. I do a lot of the coaching in the room. Like I'm way into the off season. Like I kind of I'm in there all the time. I do a lot of work in the off season, in the preseason, with both the boys and the girls. So I really like to consider them both kind of my team. But they're obviously it's not necessarily the case. But I do a lot of work with these kids, the boys and the girls. During season, sometimes though we don't have a lot of room, so we separate them, boys and girls. So we will practice separately with the girls. There's not much of a competition between the two. They all seem to support each other. I wish there was a little bit more of that friendly competition where they would kind of compete against each other that way. But they're kind of like a family, and they don't really. It's like a good functioning family, not one that likes to fight, right? So they get along for the most part, and they're not fighting with each other. So it's a good healthy balance, I think.
Well, there's a lot of healthy output there when you're wrestling, getting that out. I'm sure it makes for healthy relationships. So tell us about some of your players. Tell us some of your athletes. Who do when I'm working on the coverage of the match tomorrow night? Who should I be asking you about?
So I got my two captains who are just flat out just amazing. I got we call her Shy. Her name's actually like Shy and Zura. She's one of my senior leaders, and she's just phenomenal. She's been one of my captains this year and has not disappointed. And then the other one I have is a junior, Samaya Bazil, who is also very, very talented. And the one thing I would say is, with those two in the room as the leaders, it kind of resonates with all the other girls, right? They see the success, they see it, and they know what they want, and they're good leaders, and the hard work is paying off because these girls, what they do in the room, it's not just for themselves. They make everybody around them better. So that's a huge part of it. So those two girls carry us for the most part, as far as, but you can't have just two, right? You need more than just two. So I got a few other girls. I got a few juniors in there that have really stepped up and have done really well. I got a lot of sophomores in there that have done a lot of work in the off season, to where now they're where they're at now, and they're doing really, really well. So I mean, a young team, But again, the two leaders I have on that team would be Shai and Samaya, who carry the load. I have another senior, Eileen, who's also wrestled for me for 4 years, who's really in the last month or so just really stepped up her game, and she's been amazing. So she's another one to kind of keep an eye on.
And then, this part of obviously it's the end of the season. It's the, most important part of the winter season, but you guys, wrestling has a really interesting calendar where, you go from league to team duels, then back to league for individuals. How do you guys manage this calendar at the tail end of the year, to maximize the success of these kids?
Well, I mean that's the tough part, right? Because we have these duels coming up tomorrow, and then we have to practice one day Friday to kind of be ready to be on weight for Saturday. So that's the hard part about it. I mean, we go in there, we don't go too crazy. We just kind of make sure they're drilling properly. Nothing that's gonna hopefully cause them any type of injury. So we try to keep it to a hard working drilling sessions for the most part, so they can kind of stay in shape and not have to have a hard weight cut at the end. But yeah, we just try to keep it. We don't try to let it stress them out, right? But unfortunately, a lot of these kids sometimes they overthink stuff, and you just got to be in there and be a buffer for them. Sometimes say it's okay, you'll be fine, and let the chips lie where they may.
And then broadening out before we let you go, what do we need to know? Are there any as we get into state and we get into the end of the wrestling season, who are the girls wrestlers that we should keep our eye on, as we look toward All County, or we look toward, wrestlers that you saw that you guys wrestled against? I don't know, any names or any wrestlers that stuck out for you throughout local competition this year that we should know about?
As far as from other teams or from my team?
Yeah, from other teams. You mentioned your guys. Anybody that just off the top of your head?
Like I know Madison Black from Newbury Parks is this phenomenal wrestler. I've known her for the past 4 years. My son's actually coach at Newbury Park, so I know the Newbury Park kid, so she's phenomenal. I know some of the Rural Mesa kids that are pretty talented that should be making a big run at state, which is a Bittner. Maybe they're the heavyweight. I'm not sure. I can't remember all the names. Then I guess I got my two girls, Shai and Samaya, who can make a big run at the state tournament too. So, but we got a few girls in the county that can make some noise, and that's the fun part about it. Because like I said, when you start getting success in our area, it may bring other girls to come out and try to do the sport, which is what we need. Yeah,
we've had some, just like we said, only the 5, 6, 7 years that the sport has existed locally. There always seems to be one or two kind of out there at the end at state, and Trinity Tipton last year, and like you mentioned Madison Black, and Newbury had I think I covered a state champion, maybe the very first one during the pandemic. So girls wrestling has started strong and seems to be only getting stronger here, as these programs are filling out and more schools are fielding it. And so we appreciate your efforts, and good luck on the long bus drive, and bring home, if you're going to go all the way out there, you might as well bring home the big plaque, right?
Might as well, Coach.
Right. Yeah, we don't want to come home empty-handed, that's for sure. It'll be a long ride home if we do.
All right, well, we appreciate it so much, and I will talk to you tomorrow night. Good luck.
Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate your guys' time and having me on.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Joe.
Take care. Bye.
Two great interviews today, Joe. Two awesome
this episode is worth the wait. As since he mentioned her, we should quickly, before we go to girls basketball, do the Ventura Orthopedic Athletes of the Week. Shai Anzuris, Pacifica senior wrestler. Senior recorded 3 pins in the 135-pound division to help the Tritons win 3 matches in the D3 team duels at Lakewood High Saturday to advance the championship match. And Zuris improved her overall record to 33-5. Pacifica travels to Elsinore, like we said, to wrestle for the CIF title on Thursday. Like I mentioned when we were doing all the muting back and forth, Pacifica girls wrestling, second team in the history of Ventura County to make a CIF final. Yeah, go and do the boys.
I'll
Sorry.
do it. Yeah. No, I just felt bad last week. Made you do the whole. You did the whole. It's a mouthful. We got for the boys side, the Ventura Orthopedic Boys Athlete of the Week is Enrique Quadra, a sophomore, 6'8" center for Oxnard. He had 2 big double-doubles to help the Yellow Jackets win 2 of 3 Channel League games last week to clinch that third-place spot, like we mentioned earlier in this episode, and an automatic berth to the CIF playoffs. On Monday, he had 27 points and 12 boards in a 61-48 win over rival Pacifica to sweep the season series against in that Gonzales Road rivalry. And he had 12 points in a 76-58 loss to first place Santa Barbara Wednesday, and then 21 points and 16 boards in a 57-37 win over Rio Mesa on Friday. That's 4th place Rio Mesa, so an important league win there. Boom.
All right. And now we get, let's quickly go through. Did we finish girls basketball?
No, we barely started it, but I was saying, it's a lot more cut and dry. There's one very exciting kind of league race there in the Marmani League. TO clinches that outright league title. They dropped the first game that they have lost in league this season to Westlake, super scrappy Westlake team. Gets like a 6 or 7 point win over them in league. Oaks Christian finishes second and clinches a playoff spot, and that Westlake team grinds out the third playoff spot, beating out Newbury Park, who finished 15-13 overall, 4-6 in league. So they are eligible for a possible at-large bid. And the Marmani League being solid, there's a good chance they get one. The Coastal Canyon League, similarly, you have undefeated Oak Park in league. They're trailed by Camarillo and Moore Park as the automatic playoff qualifiers out of that league. Another possible at-large bid here is Royal. We wrote about Royal earlier this season, the crazy turnaround they have had. They finished 16-12 and in 4th in that league, so another possible at-large bid there. The Channel League is where we have the most excitement. You have Ventura clinches their first undefeated Channel League crown since the 2016-2017 season. So that's a super big deal. And then, grinding it out, looking for that 4th playoff spot, we actually have basketball being played tonight. I will be there at Oxnard High, Oxnard hosting Rio Mesa for the rubber match. They split the season series. Both games were decided by 2 points. Rio Mesa this last game had a chance to win it at the buzzer. The possible game-winning 3-pointer clangs off the rim. So this game is going to be fun. If it's decided by more than 2 points, I'll be very surprised. And it's high stakes, especially for Rio Mesa. They're under 500, and so if they lose this game, there's no possibility of an at-large bid. Whereas if Rio Mesa gets the win, Oxnard can cross their fingers. So a very important game tonight. The Tri-Valley League, St. Bonaventure, another undefeated league champion, 8-0. Foothill Tech is going to join them as an automatic bid, finishing 3rd in that league. And then in the Citrus Coast, it's Santa Paula and Fillmore, 1st and 2nd, locked up in that league. Channel Islands finishes 1 game back of Carpinteria, so they're on the outside looking in, but they are our final possible at-large bid. They finished 9-8 according to Max Preps. There were a couple of games missing there on Max Preps for a little while, but as far as we know, 9-8 is their final overall record.
All right. There's a good job there. You want to hit the stat of the week?
Let's do it. Yeah, so last week's stat of the week was about a TO girls basketball player setting the program record for single-season three-pointers. That was Ariana Lopez. This week, it's Dylan McCord, who sets the Thousand Oaks boys basketball record for most three-pointers in a game with 10 and in a season with 113. He had 10 three-pointers, finished with 43 points last night against Newbury Park. Crazy game. So, yeah, 2 Lancers set that single-season record this season for three-pointers in a year.
The bookends there. All right, before we move on to the third period, where I'm going to talk about the soccer races, let's just quickly remind you to vote in the boys soccer poll. Vote for the top player in Ventura County. We've got 40 candidates from over 23 schools.
Whew.
So almost every school locally should be represented there. So go ahead and hop on there and support your favorite local soccer player. Um, absolutely wide. Like we mentioned at the top, we pushed the podcast today because so much was happening, and a lot of it was happening in boys soccer. We had, of the 6 leagues, we had 4 leagues decided last night. No, 3 leagues decided last night in boys and 2 in girls. So I think we had actually 6 of the 10 league titles went down to the very last game
That's
last night,
awesome.
which is why we delayed the podcast. And let's look at this. So just starting from the top, absolutely wild race in the Citrus Coast on the boys side. And let me just tell a little story. When Channel Islands won the Division II championship, Channel Islands, one of the biggest schools in Ventura County, second biggest, I think now, second or third biggest school in Ventura County, wins Division II right around the pandemic. I think it was 21. And then from there, they got releagued into the Citrus Coast League. And their coach at the time lamented the fact that, they wanted to play the biggest schools and that they were going and playing what he thought were smaller schools in the Santa Paulas and the Fillmores and the Carpinterias. And I said, be careful what you wish for. That's going to be a tough league, because the Pacific View, rest in peace, the old Pacific View League was the best boys soccer league in Ventura County. It was one of the best leagues, I would argue, in the country. You had absolutely, there's just so much talent in Oxnard, divided up from those schools. And every year it was just an absolute joy to cover. And you moved two of the biggest programs, Hueneme and Channel Islands, into the Citrus Coast, where you've got, that 150 corridor with Carp and Santa Paula and Fillmore, where, soccer is also huge. And so those are all great programs that have had a lot of success. Um, and so big bad Channel Islands went in there and didn't win a league title until last night.
Wow.
So it's been 5 years. And by the way, they won a CIF title last year, but they did not win the Citrus Coast League. So, Channel Islands finally got it done. They were cruising. They were my number one team a couple weeks ago. Santa Paula beat them twice to take over the lead of the race. They went into last night, Santa Paula just needing to beat Carpinteria, which is, like I said, not the easiest thing in the world. Santa Paula takes the lead, concedes in the second half. They go to overtime. Don't get me started on why there's overtime in league games in some of these leagues. They go to overtime. Santa Paula loses in league play in overtime to end the season. Channel Islands, with the door ajar, walks right through it. They beat Nordoff 4-0 to finish 10-2 in the league and win their, like I said, first Citrus Coast League title. Channel League Oxnard, after they had the big win over Pacifica, ending Pacifica's 12-match winning streak last week. That was kind of the decisive moment of League. Oxnard just had to see it out and not drop any points the rest of the way. They went in to the last game of the season just needing a point. They got a win, beating Dos Pueblos 3-1. So Oxnard clinches its second straight Channel League championship. Oh, I didn't. So Citrus Coast, you've got Santa Paula, CI, and Carpinteria as the AQs. In the channel, you've got Oxnard, Pacifica, San Marcos, and Ventura as the AQs. Marmani League, Calabasas was the top team in that league. They finished an undefeated season. They tied last night Agoura, their rival, to finish 8-0-2. It's their second straight Marmani League title. Calabasas, Oaks Christian, and Westlake are the 3 teams with automatic qualifiers out of the Marmani League. Coastal Canyon, Oak Park. So there's this thing that Brandon Height, the coach at Oak Park, likes to call the curse of the 6-0 team in the Coastal Canyon. And that's because 5 years ago, Oak Park, one of the better teams in Ventura County year after year, this last decade under Height, they started 6-0, and all they needed was a point out of the last 2 games to clinch, and Moore Park got them. The door got left open, and Moore Park beat them on the last day to win the championship. It was a really good Moore Park team. Both of those teams won 20 games and won playoff games. And then last night, Oak Park turned the tables and did the exact same thing to Moore Park. Moore Park was 6-0 this year. All they needed was 1 point out of the last 2 games to clinch a championship. They lose their last two games, and with the door open, Oak Park scored in the 3rd minute last night and made it hold up. I know Camarillo needed a point to keep to clinch a playoff spot, and they did not get it. And I know Coach Duran was not happy because they had a lot of chances. It was one of these games where both teams were playing with everything they got for a really big payoff, and Oak Park just survived 1-0 with the championship on the line. That loss means that Camarillo will play a very rare, way more rare than a basketball, play-in match Wednesday night. That's tonight at Moore Park High for the 3rd place, the 3rd automatic berth in the Coastal Canyon League. That's because Royal 1-0 winner over Simi last night. Both of those teams finished 2-4-2, and obviously a very, two of our best programs. There's not a lot of wins to be had in the Coastal Canyon League. You've got Oak Park and Moore Park in it. They both finished 2-2. They both tied each other. They played each other 160 minutes this year, so almost 3 hours of soccer, and they've tied. So they're going to play again tonight, and who knows how long it's going to be. Talking about how close the Channel League girls basketball play-in game could be, right? I can guarantee. Well, I don't want to guarantee, but I'd be surprised if this is a 2-goal game. 2-point game, 2-goal game. So this could be a game where you've got you go out extra time, they go to overtime, they keep playing. Could be one of these playoff games that last. So tonight
you're gonna be covering that game.
Yeah, we will get it covered. Oak Park or Royal and Camarillo are going to play for the championship of each other tonight. So that's going to be a big deal.
That's so exciting.
And then Frontier League, Laguna Blanca, St. Bonaventure, and Thatcher look like the AQs. Pretty sure Laguna Blanca won the championship in that league, but there's a result that's outstanding on Max Prep. So you're talking about Max Prep's results that are an issue. And so I think Laguna Blanca won the title. St. Bonaventure 2nd, Thatcher 3rd. They're all going to the playoffs in the Frontier League. Tri-Valley League, Kate 8-0. They swept it. Carpinteria Kate. Bishop Diego's also going to the playoffs. And it looks like Foothill Tech is the 3rd AQ out of the Tri-Valley. Moving quickly to girls soccer, where we had a treat last night. 2 of the best teams in Ventura County, or locally, 2 of the best teams in Southern California, playing a rivalry match at Cal Lutheran on not just a college facility, but a MLS Next facility, one of the best soccer facilities around, and just a fantastic soccer game. Oaks Christian scored first, and Westlake's KK Chiwana, who's one of the best players, San Jose State bound superstar. She absolutely incredible solo goal to equalize in first half stoppage time. And then she got fouled in second half stoppage time when the league standings, the match, everything is tied. These two teams are about to split the league, and KK put a 30-yard free kick off the crossbar, and her teammate Sam Bateman followed it in. They score in second half. So they score the equalizer in first half stoppage time, score the winner in second half stoppage time. Westlake with its first Marmoni League championship in 5 years. And, it's Marmoni League's always been one of the better girls soccer leagues in Southern California. It's even better the fact that Oaks Christian, has been one of the best programs lately. They've been in the open division all 3 seasons that it's existed. Oaks Christian and Westlake are going into this weekend as the number 4 and number 10 teams in the southern section. There's a chance that they could both be in the open division together. There's a chance they could be playing each other in the open division, which would be awesome, because I don't know if you're aware, open division in soccer, it's only a couple years old. They do it like the Champions League.
Right.
So they play home and away ties. They're called ties. They're home and away series, whatever we want to term, but you play one game would be at Westlake, one game would be at Oaks Christian. I would watch another 3 hours of soccer between those two teams. Thousand Oaks, last year's CIF finalists. They are the 3rd place team in the Ronnie. They get in. Newbury Park, also one of our better teams. They're going to have to get an at-large bid. They obviously belong in the playoffs. So hopefully they get an at-large bid. Channel League, Buena wrapped up its 27th league title outright last night with a 1-1 draw over Dos Pueblos. That's 27 league titles since 1988.
It's higher than I can
Trish
count.
Butterbaugh the Ventura County Hall of Fame inductee coach. I think is the coach for 19 of those. So Buena High girls soccer doesn't mess around. They win. Ventura, which has been let's call it let's criticize the person who covers soccer for the Star. An underreported story from Ventura this year.
Yeah, that guy sucks. Who are we talking about?
You sound like my email inbox. Caitlin Wright, one of the best players in Ventura County. She, the Ventura striker, 4-year star. She was lost for the season with a torn ACL halfway through the year. Ventura was able to pick up the pieces and still qualify for the playoffs. If she doesn't get hurt, it would have been an awesome Buenaventura race down to the wire, I'm sure. Buena, I should have mentioned, finished undefeated. They were 9-0-5 in league play. Ventura beat Pacifica 2-0 last night. They finished 4th. The 4 teams out of the channel going to the playoffs automatically are Buena, Oxnard, Dos Pueblos, and Ventura. So 3 local schools. Citrus Coast, we talked about the Citrus Coast boys race, which was phenomenal. Citrus Coast girls race was also awesome, where you had 4 really good soccer teams going at it. Last night it was a situation where Carpinteria and Santa Paula were playing each other, and the winner was if one of them won, essentially the winner was the champion. Carpinteria unfortunately knocked off Santa Paula 2-0 for a win. I don't know the last time Carp won the Citrus Coast. It's been a long time, so it's a big time win for that program. Santa Paula finishes 3rd actually because CI finished so strong. They were actually coming from out of the playoffs almost to winning the championship. I think they're just a point back of Carp. So CI won again last night 4-0. They finished 2nd. Santa Paula finishes 3rd. Fillmore is another one of these teams that doesn't have an AQ, but certainly belongs in the playoffs. We'll see how the pairings work out for the Flashes. Coastal Canyon, Moore Park rolled the Coastal Canyon this year, 7-0-1, one of the best programs in the area, one of the best programs in the state under Mikey Alexander. Just year after year, that team continues to be one of the toughest to play. They finish undefeated in the league. Camarillo finishes 2nd. They're going to the playoffs. And Royal finishes 3rd. So 3 good programs on the Coastal Canyon. Moore Park, also one of these teams potentially could be in the open division. So we're probably only going to have 1 team in Oaks Christian, but we could have 3. They're Moore Park and Oaks and Westlake are on the line there. They're either going to be in the open or they're going to be some of the top seeds in Division 1.
Wow.
Tri-Valley, Grace ran away with it. Fantastic attack that the Lancers have, 9-0-1. They were completely unchallenged in the Tri-Valley League. They swamped everyone. Thatcher and Kate will also make the playoffs. And there we are.
Boom. Well done.
Oh,
that is exciting.
We should mention
many races.
Was that enough? Yeah, there was a lot happening last night, and I'm covering the game in front of me, which was riveting. Couldn't take my eyes off the field at a beautiful venue at Roland Stadium at CLU. And that's happening. Wow, all these other results are happening. So I'm trying to get the results, trying to tweet them out, trying to report them. So that was a lot of fun. And we should mention that February 7th, which is Sunday, is pairings day for soccers and basketballs.
I believe Saturday. I believe we find out Saturday, which is the 7th. Yes.
My bad.
Saturday.
February 7th, Saturday, 10 a.m. for soccer and 12 noon for basketball. So I'll work the morning shift. You work the afternoon shift. We will knock that out. And then let's quickly, before we wrap, we talked about girls wrestling. So entering into 4th period here. Let's just actually quickly mention girls wrestling. We mentioned the team that advanced. There was also 4 teams in CIF playoffs from a girls wrestling perspective. Rio Mesa advanced the D2 quarters before they fell. Ventura advanced the D3 quarters before they fell. Newbury Park advanced with, again, Madison Black, advanced the D3 quarters until they fell. And Wainimi was a first round competitor in D4. So that's 4 of 5 girls wrestling teams in the CIF playoffs won matches. So kudos to them. And we will see all those competitors hopefully last very long into state competition going forward here. Boys wrestling. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, tack on the boys wrestling. We have 3 local teams. Ventura makes the D3 quarterfinals. Calabasas gets to the D5 semifinals, and Hueneme makes the D5 quarters. That wraps up all the local wrestling.
So there's team competition complete for boys wrestling this year. They obviously have league finals individually this weekend heading on, and that begins the great big push to Bakersfield. Girls water polo. This looks like about 10 teams, 11 teams. That starts today's Wednesday, February 4th, as we record this. All that competition, girls water polo playoffs, begin today. Oaks Christian was the 3rd seed. They're the defending Open Division champions. They're the 3rd seed in this year's Open Division playoffs. They open up that road today. Tomorrow, Thursday, is D2 and D3. The first round of D2 play, Camarillo will host Rosary Academy, TO will host Woodbridge, Calabasas will travel to Miracosta, and Ventura will visit West Ridge. So that's D2 first round on Thursday. D3 first round on Thursday. Foothill at Notre Dame Sherman Oaks. That's our lone D3.
I have D4
participant.
I have D4 and 5 right in front of me here. Santa
Oh,
Paula,
I missed it.
14 and 14, finished 2nd in the Citrus Coast League. They are traveling to Roosevelt. And Nordhoff, who finished 8 and 10, was 3rd in the Citrus Coast. They'll play at Cypress in first round games on Thursday, February 5th. Royal earned the top seed in Division 5. They finished 12 and 8, 3rd in the Coastal Canyon League. They're hosting Sierra Vista in a first round game Thursday as well. I covered last year. I covered a crazy day of water polo. 3 championship matches for locals. All 3 of those teams are back in the playoffs this year. You have Oaks Christian, nice. Santa Paula, and Nordhoff. Those were all very exciting matches. We'll see what happens this year. See if I make that trip back out there for those teams or some new ones.
And then I skipped over D1 because they don't start till Friday. Agoura hosting Palos Verdes and Ventura traveling to Santa Ana Foothill. So that's D1 Friday. Good catch with the D4s and 5s. I don't know what happened when I was doing. I must have gotten distracted by our interview while I was filling out the girls water polo brackets there. Nice work, Dom.
Is that Ventura at Foothill or is that Buena at Foothill? Do I have that right?
So it's Buena.
Buena's at Foothill.
Yeah, it's Ventura's at Westridge.
Oh,
so Buena's at Foothill. That's not Foothill Tech. That's Santa Ana Foothill down in Orange County.
Perfect. Nice.
So,
well done.
Oof. All right, so we get a little bit of a reprieve here. We got some water polo playoffs next couple of days. We got the wrestling CI final, and we got pairings this weekend, and then we'll have all 4 or 5 fall winter sports in the middle of playoffs next couple weeks. Looking forward to being out and about every night, getting all this done. We will have live updates of some of these playoffs. We'll get some live blogs up. Either John will help us, or we can do some live blogs. Keep people updated on the app. So make sure, if you don't already have the VC Star app on your phone, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to VCS Preps across your social media. And as always, thanks for the support.
Couple things real quick. This week we had all of these crazy league races. We also had some great coverage of local teams scheduling awesome non-league contests. John had the roundup lead with Ventura taking down Mater Dei in a crazy non-league clash in girls basketball. One of their bigger wins in quite some time for an exceptional program. Oak Park faced Sierra Canyon with former Eagle star Delaney White. What a moment. They lose that game, but they get to face a former teammate. And you have Santa Paula and Thousand Oaks last minute scheduling each other to play just for the heck of it, which I love.
I love it. Just get it running. Let's go.
Shout out to all those teams. Go read those stories. Go check out Joe's soccer player rankings that are out now. Don't forget about those. We have a story coming out about computer rankings for basketball and some coaches' takes on that coming out soon.
A great story.
Thank you, Joe. And just we'll keep you posted. Everything you need to know, you follow us, and we got you.
One last thing before we go. Myra Smith, the Camarillo High multi-sport star, she played in the girls flag football showcase at the Pro Bowl in San Francisco last night. I believe the AFC beat the NFC 7-6. I think it was like a pretty quick game. There wasn't a lot. So I tried to watch it, but juggling all those other games, it's really hard. But I did write a story. It's on VCStar.com. So check out you and you had awesome photos of her sweet Rams jersey, which I was super jealous about.
Same.
Can you imagine? If you had like your NFL teams, gave you your jersey?
Yeah, I'm just focused. I'm just focused on going and picking up an Anthony Davis Washington Wizards jersey right now.
Wait. Are you gonna have the Anthony Davis jersey? Or are you gonna have the Trae Young jersey?
I am not stupid enough to think that either Trae Young or Anthony Davis will be in the district for any amount of time in the future for me to warrant. I'll stick with my John Wall jersey, and we'll be happy with that.
That's the smart way to go. That's what in my old age I've realized that. And again, you get to this age, you probably shouldn't be wearing sports jerseys, but I like the t-shirt. I like the jerseys. I like the t-shirts, and so I've decided that you get your team's legends because
retired players
won't change.
Retired players can't break your heart.
Exactly. So that's the way to go. That's what my 50 years of fandom. That's I finally figured it out. So last year I went and I got, when I was getting t-shirts, buying myself birthday presents. That's what I did. I bought some t-shirts of my favorite legend. So we'll just leave it at that.
All right, guys. Till next time, we will keep you guys posted, and thanks for joining us.
It comes down to this for Thousand Oaks in their season. It is a gift to Martin. Martin gets the first down and more. It's a nice little screen to the left-hand side. One play, and see ya later. Caldera dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Oxnard. What a fitting way to end that run. He's at the 40. He's at the 20.